It's okay. I'm going to help you. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer. Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. So I got asked in a comment on one of the more recent videos of mine what I thought about this statement. Now this statement, the "it's okay, I'm going to help you" statement, came from the probable cause affidavit whenever they arrested Bryan Kohberger when it came to what Dylan Mortensen apparently told the police about that morning. Now what we've been able to establish is that we've got two different stories here. And we've known that forever. We've been told from before Bryan's arrest that the girls were downstairs the entire time. Nobody heard anything. Nobody saw anything, blah, 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 blah. And then it turned out, lo and behold, the two surviving roommates were actually communicating with each other via phone. Dylan apparently was calling all of the other roommates, according to Kaylee Goncalves' mother, during an interview, who mentioned how that's what they were told. That Dylan was calling the other roommates but getting no answers from anyone but Bethany. The PCA says that Dylan originally went to sleep or went to shut down, I guess, for the night in her bedroom on the second floor. What we know from the original interviews with the families and from what the police told us is that both of the girls told everyone else they were downstairs pretty much the whole time. But again, that story changed once the probable cause order came out. Now, this statement is odd. "It's okay, I'm going to help you." It's a very odd statement, especially if you take in all of the context around that statement. The timing, what was apparently happening in the home at the time that this was being said, and the fact that they're telling us Bryan did this himself. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, honestly. Regardless of if this statement was made or not, one person going in there with a manual weapon in the middle of the night, 3 stories to this house. Yes, I know that there was a good vibes sign apparently on. There were string lights in the house, so it wasn't exactly dark, dark, dark. But it still just has this horrible, disgusting, creepy vibe to it whenever you think about what was actually happening. So we're going to read the 2 paragraphs that give a little bit of layout of the timeline for when this was actually going on, and then I'll tell you what I think about this, because that's the whole point of this video. Someone asked me what I thought about this statement. I honestly have several thoughts. I haven't been able to concrete any of them, but that's basically because we don't have any true information. We just don't. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know exactly what happened here, because I don't. And if there's anyone out there that's acting like they know 100% what this is, they're lying to you, because nobody does. We're all just guessing. Now, the portion of the PCA we're going to go over again is just to give us a refresher on the minutes that was happening right about the time this was said. It says that Dylan woke up at around 4 o'clock. This is whenever she apparently heard Kaylee playing with her dog upstairs in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which was on the 3rd floor. And then also stating that a short time later, she heard what she thought was Kaylee also saying something to the effect of, "There's someone here." Now, let's just stop there for a second, because that could mean 2 different things in this scenario, at least from the way that we're getting the information from the police. This was either somebody noticing that somebody was in the house and being alerted to an intruder, or this was the DoorDasher, because we later find out that Xana apparently received a DoorDash. There's no information about when she placed the order, where the food came from, if Xana was the one that placed the order, because just because you received the DoorDash doesn't mean that you're the one who actually put the order in. So it could have been one or the other, because they've been telling us this entire time that suspect vehicle number 1 came back into the area around 4:04 in the morning, and the DoorDash was received by Xana at approximately 4 o'clock. Approximately means give or take a minute or so. Now, between 4 o'clock in the morning, when Dylan apparently hears Kaylee playing with the dog and then hears there's someone here, there's also the 4:12 timestamp they have in the PCA of whenever Xana was apparently active on TikTok. Now, just because TikTok was open, playing a video, that doesn't mean that she technically had the phone in her hand and was scrolling personally, unless they have a timestamp for her posting a comment or posting something that we haven't seen yet. That's the only thing I could really think of. Now, right here, when it says that Dylan looked out of her bedroom but didn't see anything when she heard the comment about somebody being in the house, I wonder if that was her looking out the window or the door. I'm not really quite sure. I guess it could be either way. But the next sentence makes you believe that it was her bedroom door that she opened that first time, because it then states that she opened the door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Xana's room, and then she heard a male voice say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." So then it talks about how at 4:17 a.m. at approximately, which again does not mean at 4:17, it means around 4:17. A security camera that's 50 feet away from Xana's bedroom on somebody else's house picked up voices or a whimper along with a loud thud. And then, of course, the dog barking. Now, again, whimpering is something that's done internally. Whimpering is something that is done with the mouth closed, and you barely hear anything coming out of the vocal cords because the mouth is closed. Whatever sound is really resonating is kind of coming out of your nose, sort of. But there's a 5-minute difference between the 412 TikTok and this 417 timestamp on the security camera. So that's 5 minutes of crying, of whimpering that Dylan is apparently hearing. Because if you can hear somebody in a regular tone of voice say, "It's okay, I'm here to help you," you can hear a dog's nails and paws moving around on the floor in the room on the third floor, and you can hear people say there's someone in the house in a normal tone. There's no way that you're not hearing the rest of what was going on in that house. Now, they also have suspect vehicle number 1 leaving the neighborhood around 4:20 in the morning, but according to forensic downloads of both of the surviving roommates' cell phones, they are putting the ending time of this event at 4:25, which is 5 minutes after that vehicle left. That doesn't make any sense to me, because whenever you're putting a timing limit on an event, you're going to end it where it ends. Why would you end it 5 minutes after the assailant apparently left not only the house, but the neighborhood? This is 4:20, the car is leaving the neighborhood. That means the person or persons would have had to have left the vicinity, gotten into the vehicle, and then taken off. When you put all of it together, it doesn't give a lot of time for really anything. All we do know is that there's no way in hell these two girls, especially Dylan, there's no way that she can sit here and act like she didn't hear what was happening. When you are telling the police and the police are telling us, you are hearing normal voice tone things like, "Hey, someone's here and it's okay, I'm going to help you." There's no way you hear crying, but you don't hear 4 people getting their lives taken from them. There's just no way. Now, when it comes to who said that, that's the craziest part, because I have so many theories. And again, they're just theories. But my first one, as sadistic as it sounds, was that this was the perpetrator. It's almost, and again, this is just in my brain, in my mind, it's almost as if they had already attacked the person and they were still alive. And this statement is being made right before the final blow is given in order to stop the suffering, stop the terror, stop the fear, stop the pain. People are screwed up. That's like the first thing that I thought whenever I read this. But then we also have to remember the fact that Ethan was there. So there's a big possibility, especially, man, this is what makes me sick to my stomach, especially since we've been hearing how the scene actually looked, according to Christy, according to Kaylee Goncalves' family, according to what they were told from the people that were at the scene, i.e., Hunter Johnson. Hunter Johnson was apparently called over to the house by one or both of the surviving roommates in order to get Xana's door open because they could not get the door open. Now, we've talked about that 1.5 million times. There's 20 million things wrong with just that situation, but we're going to focus on this statement. This could have also have been Ethan saying that to Xana because he was trying to get help. I believe in my brain, the way that we were told his body was behind Xana's door to a point where the girls couldn't open it and they had to call Hunter Johnson over. If that's the case, if that's how this went down, then there's a big possibility that he was still alive whenever the perpetrator or perpetrators left the home, and he ended up being behind the door because he was trying to get out of the door in order to get help. And he died before he could do that. That's my second biggest theory on who this was. Now, my third theory on this was that it was the DoorDasher. I know that there was a lot of conversations over the Jack in the Box bag with Xana's name popped on it that was sitting on the sink next to a nasty old crusty disgusting Starbucks cup. That was a big conversation. And I wonder if this is the DoorDasher who maybe saw what happened and said that and then freaked out and ran. And I know that that's not a good look. And I know that we sit here and we talk all kinds of stuff about Dylan and Bethany, especially Dylan, because of the 8-hour delay and the fact that there's no way in hell they didn't hear this. There's literal things in documentation and things that we have heard from official sources that make it seem like there's no way. There's no way that you didn't hear what was going on. On top of that, they were contacting each other. So yeah, anyway. When it comes to the Dasher, this is what it states in the PCA. With the exception of Kernodle, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m., and then in parentheses, law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. Something we also need to keep in mind when it comes to the DoorDasher is when the search warrant for DoorDash was actually obtained and executed. Now, what we have here is that it wasn't until December the 6th. It was not until December the 6th that they actually got the search warrant for DoorDash. Now, yeah, it was before the PCA, obviously. That's why it's in the PCA. But almost a month, that's a week shy of a month since the crime, that they waited to do a search warrant for DoorDash. And why is that? Because they didn't know right away. Because there was nothing there to let them know that that DoorDash happened right away. This person's car could be the one that was driving around the neighborhood. We really don't know because the probable cause affidavit is really written as if everything was reverse engineered to fit Bryan. Not that it actually came from Bryan and then they were able to just establish all of this stuff and all of this evidence that actually pointed to him in the end. They literally started with a name and then worked their way out instead of working with a whole bunch of information and narrowing it down to just one person. This is reverse engineering at its finest. And they're not even just trying to get the DoorDash delivery information for the time of the crime, for November 13th. They went all the way back to January 1st of 2022 to present day, meaning even stuff that happened even after nobody was no longer living in that house. Now, what else could this have been? I don't know. It could have been perpetrator to perpetrator, the way that the person that left me the comment asking me what I thought about this sentence thinks it could have been. That's very possible, especially since I do not believe whatsoever that one person did this. I go back to why did nobody call 911? Why did nobody run and get help? I even made a video about it over a year ago now, that if everything was actually happening with Maddie and Kaylee upstairs first, and there was a TikTok that was open and active at 4:12 and a DoorDash that was being delivered at 4 o'clock in the morning, how come Ethan and Xana didn't call 911? How come neither one of them left and ran away to try to get help? How come we don't hear anything like that in this situation? It seems almost impossible for one person to be able to subdue 2 different floors, 4 people, 2 on each floor, but be able to subdue them at the exact same time to where one group couldn't go run for help as the other group is getting attacked. That doesn't make sense. So it could have been perpetrator to perpetrator. Maybe one of them couldn't finish the job, and so somebody was like, it's okay, I'm going to help you. Because you just never know. People are sick. I know a lot of people question if this was a police officer because we do have a lot of police presence at the time of the crime, at least the timing of the crime that we originally got. Because remember, once they arrested Bryan and released the probable cause affidavit, it was a different timeline. They shifted it by an hour. Because that is something that somebody who's a first responder or a police officer would say to somebody in distress. It's okay, I'm going to help you. And while that's a possibility, I don't really know if cops are involved in the crime itself. I don't personally believe so with my theory. I haven't laid out all of my theory yet, but most of you guys that have been listening to what I've been saying pretty much know I'm leaning towards the fraternity and the school because it's just way too shady. There's way too much stuff going on there. I really feel like the Kaylee and Jack D love story was thrown in our face as a distraction for what was really going on. They always try to get you to look this way whenever they don't want you to look this way. And I haven't been able to let go of that. for 2 years, over 2 years now. I have not been able to let go of that whatsoever. I don't believe whatsoever that whatever happened had anything to do with Kaylee at all. I think she really was just collateral damage. I think that the people that were involved in this, there was something going on to where Maddie might have been a secondary target, but I believe that whatever actually happened had something to do with Ethan and or Xana or both. Not that they did anything wrong, but I think that they were the targets of this attack. And I think that that's why there's so much information missing when it comes to Ethan and Xana, and why Ethan's family just seems to not really give a shit. She's out selling books and acting like she's totally okay with the house being demolished, and she's not going to show up to court, and acting weird whenever her other two kids don't want to get in front of the camera. There's lots of things. They say everyone has a price, and I don't really know if that's true. It probably is, because humans do human things. But a lot of people are also cowards. So I have also wondered if a lot of stuff going on with Steve Goncalves is because they're allowing all this stuff to go on with them. Now, they've been quiet lately, but all the crazy chaos and stuff that ensued with that family pretty much this whole time out in the spotlight, I think that even though the cops might have put a stop to Steve talking to some sort of informant, I do think that they've allowed a lot of this chaos because it's a distraction. Law enforcement likes to act like this internet stuff is just, oh, so bad. But in the end, they dance in the fire. They fuel it. They love it. It's a distraction that they definitely take advantage of. But as for who said this, if it was actually said, if this was actually said by a male voice, your guess is as good as mine. And that's all that we can really do. We can hope that that question gets asked. We can hope that we get answers to that. But what have we learned about trials, just in general? I mean, look at Richard Allen's trial. The defense literally had to defend Richard Allen with their hands tied behind their backs. Let's just be for real. Just because somebody is convicted of something doesn't technically mean that they did it. There's too many things that go wrong. And the fact that stuff is just allowed to not be let in, I don't understand how the prosecution can be in trouble if they don't present something that can prove someone's innocent, but the court itself can stop the person's defense from bringing it forward. That sounds ass backwards. I've ranted about things other than the subject of this video at this point, so I'm just going to go ahead and end this before I keep going, because I could literally go on for hours. But I want to know what you guys' thoughts are on this statement. Who do you think made this statement? Because to me, I think it's a possibility that maybe the door was open and they walked in and saw what happened, said that, but then freaked the hell out and ran out of the house and just never reported anything. That's a big possibility. Humans do crazy shit, but it also could have been Ethan saying it to Xana. It also could have been a bad guy saying it to their fellow bad guy. It could have been the perpetrator or perpetrators saying it to one of the victims. There's so many possibilities. I hope we get answers pretty soon, because it's a whirlwind. But let me know what you guys think when it comes to this statement. When it comes to, it's okay, I'm going to help you. Who do you think said it? Apparently it was a dude, but we just don't know who. And again, we're all guessing. If anyone's out here acting like they know for sure, they're definitely lying to you. And this story just kind of freaks me out. Now, I know this was off campus, actually off campus, like they all had leases, okay, off campus. But my daughter turns 18 today. I now have an officially full grown-ass adult child, and it's honestly freaking me out a little bit, because she's going to be off at college very soon, in just a few months. Now, whether she lives on campus in a dorm room or she lives off campus in a place like this, we'll figure that out as we go along for the ride. But this worries me, because anything can happen at any time. So I get what Steve Goncalves means, you know, when he says, I sent my daughter off to college and she came home in a box. I get it. I get it. But you have to live your life, and you have to just hope for the best, because that's really all you can do. But again, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you were not subscribed already. And please make sure to leave that notification bell on all so that you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.